Good morning friends, welcome back. Myself Dr. JIBRAN Ahmed presents to you Simply Pathology, and today we are going to see another very important lecture. So today a very important lecture. We are going to read what is the normal immune response. So we are going to see an overview of the lymphocyte activation and the immune responses. So before, we have already read about the innate immune system as well as the adaptive immune system and the MHC system. So these are the different components of our immune system, and now we are going to read about the working of our immune system. Okay, so there are four important legs to today's lecture. Number one is the display and recognition of antigen. Number two is the cell-mediated immunity, the activation of the T lymphocytes and elimination of intracellular microbes. Then we are having the humoral immunity, the activation of the B lymphocytes and elimination of extracellular microbes. And lastly, the decline of the immune response and immunological memory. So first, the display and the recognition of antigens. Okay. So number one, we are going to deal with this. So what I want to tell you is that in our epithelium and in the various organs and tissues, the microbes can enter, right? So the microbes can enter the epithelia, or the microbes can enter the organs and tissues. So once they have entered these tissues, the microbes alone or the microbes in combination with dendritic cells, okay, they are going to elicit an innate immune response, okay, with the help of pattern recognition receptors, as I have already discussed before. And this is the first line of defense against the microbes, and it will also activate the adaptive immunity. Okay, moving ahead, what happens that once the microbe or the dendritic cell, okay, themselves, they can travel to the lymph node, and once they enter the lymph node, they can present the antigen either to the T cells with the help of T cell receptor. Mostly the protein antigens or the peptides are presenting to the T cell receptor, okay, and secondly, polysaccharides and lipid antigens, mostly they don't require T cell and they can directly go and they can present it to the B cell, okay. So this is how they are going to present the antigens at the level of the lymph nodes. So the dendritic cells, that is the antigen presenting cell, they capture the microbial antigens from the epithelia and the tissues, and they transport the antigen to the lymph node. And during this process, the dendritic cells mature and they express high levels of MHC molecules as well as co-stimulators. Now you can now recall that MHC molecules are very important for antigen presenting cells like the dendritic cells, the macrophages and the B lymphocytes, as we have already discussed in the lecture on the MHC. So just remember that dendritic cells means the microbe along with the dendritic cells can either come directly from the epithelia and the organs, or the microbes will first by itself, okay, it can enter the lymph node, and inside the lymph node the dendritic cells can recognize and present it, okay. Moving ahead, in both T cell as well as B cells, we need two signals. As you will remember, there was signal 1 and there was signal number 2, that is co-stimulation. So if you don't remember, let us revise. So this is what the T cell receptor look like, okay, and this is how the antigen presentation took place. The signal 1 is triggered by the antigen itself, and the signal 2 is triggered by the co-stimulators present on the dendritic cells or the antigen presenting cell. So here at the level of the T cell, if you see, the CD80 and 86 are acting as a co-stimulator for the T cells. Similarly, for the B lymphocytes or for the B cells, we have two signals. One is signal 1, which is provided by the antigen, and one is signal 2, which is provided by the complement protein, which is acting as a co-stimulator, okay, and which is present on the surface of the microbes. Coming back to our slide, so there are two signals, signal 1 and signal 2. Remember, for the activation of any T cell or B cell, both the signal 1 and 2 is required, okay. Without the signal number 2, the cells cannot be stimulated. And why is it so? We will come back to it later. First of all, let us see about the signal number 2. So signal 2 or the co-stimulation in case of T cell is provided by CD80 and 86, which are co-stimulators present on the antigen presenting cells, and they are going to bind with CD28, which is present on the T cells. Whereas in case of B cell activation, the complement proteins which are present on the surface of the microbes are acting as a co-stimulator, okay, and they are going to bind to CR2 and CD21, which are present on the B cells. Now moving ahead, if you see both signal 1, okay, that is the signal provided by the antigen, and the co-stimulatory molecule, that is the signal provided, that is the signal number 2, both these signals are needed to activate the antigen specific lymphocyte. My question is why? So the requirement for signal number 2 will ensure that the adaptive immune response is induced by microbes and not by a harmless substance. To give you an example, for example, whenever we are giving any kind of an entrance exam, okay, so while filling the form we are giving a photograph, yes, but also if you see during examination, when we go for the examination, they individually check our faces also, so that other person cannot come instead of me. So there is a double checking system. Even with our immune system, there is a double check, because as you know, the immune system is a double-edged sword. It can protect us as well as it can cause injury to our body. So as to prevent unwanted actions of the immune system, we are having a double check. Okay, double check means once the signal 1 is generated, the signal number 2 also will be needed to confirm, yes, this is a microbe, okay, and the response has been mounted against an invader, okay, not insider. So we have to differentiate. That is why we are having 2 signals. Now moving ahead, in the immune response to the tumors and transplants also, the signal number 2 is provided by substances which are released by the necrotic cells, okay, that is the DAMP, damage associated molecular pattern. Now in immunization with the protein antigen, the microbial mimics called as adjuvants are added to the antigens. So what is happening over here? For example, when we are preparing a vaccine, for example BCG, okay, or for example measles vaccine, inside of the vaccines they are having certain dead antigens, okay. Along with the antigens, you must have heard that they are also having adjuvants. What is the role of these adjuvants? The adjuvants are going to stimulate the innate immune response, and during this response the microbes or the adjuvants will activate the antigen presenting cell. And what will this APC do? This antigen presenting cell is going to express molecules on its surface called as co-stimulators. Okay, and this co-stimulator will cause activation of antigen specific lymphocyte. Also, these antigen presenting cells that are stimulated by the adjuvants will secrete certain cytokines which will stimulate the proliferation and the differentiation of T lymphocyte. Hope you have understood this part. Now coming to the second leg, that is the cell mediated immunity, activation of the T lymphocyte and elimination of intracellular microbes. So again, this is a very important part. Now there are 3 main events which we are going to study under cell mediated immunity. So first of all, let us try to understand the first event. So this diagram is quite small. Let us go to a bigger version of the same diagram. So this is the first event that is taking place under CMI. So we are having the dendritic cells, which you all know is the antigen presenting cell. And for antigen presentation, it is necessary to have 2 things. One is the co-stimulator which provides the signal number 2, and one is the MHC along with the antigen that will provide signal number 1. Now they are going and presenting the antigen to the T cell receptor, which is present on the surface of naive CD4 plus T cell. Now once the antigen presenting cell has presented the antigen to the naive CD4 plus T cell, these cells are going to release what is known as interleukin number 2. What is interleukin 2? It is a cytokine which is acting as a growth factor which will act on the T lymphocytes and stimulate their proliferation. Means this interleukin number 2 is going to bind to interleukin number 2 receptor, which is also expressed by the same cell which is producing it. Means interleukin 2 is produced by CD4 plus T cell, and it will also act on the same cell which is producing it, that is the CD4 plus T cell. And this kind of action, as we have already read before, is autocrine, which is called as autocrine. So what is happening? Once interleukin 2 is going to act on the interleukin 2 receptor present on the surface of the naive CD4 plus T cell, what will happen? It is going to lead to the proliferation and differentiation of the CD4 plus T cell, and all these CD4 plus T cell will be against or specific for that particular antigen. So there is an increase in the number of antigen specific lymphocytes. Okay, now moving ahead, what is the second event? Let us see. Now this is very, very important. Here for M stands the macrophages, and here for B stands for B lymphocytes. Okay, so so we have already read how dendritic cells are presenting the antigens to the CD4 plus T cells. But when the macrophages and when the B cells are presenting the antigen to the CD4 plus T cells, okay, first of all, we all know that both of them will require MHC class 2 molecule. As you all know that all the antigen presenting cells, including the dendritic cells, macrophages and B lymphocytes, are going to require MHC. Now once they have expressed the MHC molecule, the antigens are going to bind, and now they are going to present it to CD4 plus helper T cell. Now once they have presented this antigen to the CD4 plus helper T cells, what is going to happen? Okay, this is the MHC, as we all know. Okay, what is going to happen? Once the macrophages and the B lymphocytes have presented the antigen to the CD4 plus T cell, they are going to express CD40 receptor, okay, CD40 receptor on the surface of macrophages and the B lymphocytes. Okay, and correspondingly the CD4 plus helper T cells is going to express CD40 ligand. Okay, on its surface they are expressing CD40 ligand. And ultimately, once these ligands are expressed, they are going to join with the respective receptors like this, and this will ultimately cause the activation of the T cells, and this activated T cell is going to further the action of macrophage and B lymphocyte. So activated T cells is going to activate the B cells and macrophages. We will learn further how do they activate, how the activated T cells are going to activate the macrophages and how they are going to activate the B cells. Just remember one thing, that activated T cells are going to activate the macrophages to carry out intracellular digestion or intracellular killing of the microbes, and the activated T cells are going to stimulate the B cells to carry out affinity maturation and isotype switching, the details of which we are going to read in this video lecture in the later part. What is the third event which occurs in CMI? The third event is that, so whenever an antigen presenting cell, for example the dendritic cell, the macrophages or the B lymphocytes, okay, they are actually releasing certain cytokines which are important, okay, which is going to stimulate the differentiation of the naive T cells into three main types. One is T helper 1, T helper 2, T helper 17. So now we are going to read the functions of each. First, let us read about T helper 1 function. So the major cytokines which are produced by this T helper 1 is interferon gamma. Now, what are the cytokines which are inducing the differentiation of the naive T cell and T helper 1? It is interferon gamma and interleukin number 12. That means the antigen presenting cell is releasing certain cytokines, that is interferon gamma and interleukin number 12, which is stimulating the conversion of naive T cell into T helper 1 cell. What are the immunological reactions of this? They cause macrophage activation, and they are also going to stimulate IgG antibody production. Now they are providing the host defense against intracellular microbes, and they have a role in certain disease, that is autoimmune disease, chronic inflammatory disease like IBD, psoriasis, multiple sclerosis and chronic granulomatous disease. Okay, coming to T helper 2 cells. So what are the major cytokines which are produced by T helper 2 cells? They are interleukin number 4, 5 and 13. And what are the cytokines which are inducing this subset? Means the APC'S are releasing interleukin number 4, that is going to stimulate the conversion of naive T cells into T helper 2 cells. And the immunological reactions which are induced by T helper 2 is they are going to stimulate IgE antibody production, plus they are causing the stimulation of mast cells and eosinophils. Now this is providing the host defense against helminthic parasites, and they have a role in allergies. Okay, now the T helper 17. Now this T helper 17 The major cytokines which are produced by them are interleukin 17 and interleukin 22. And what are the cytokines which are inducing this subset? It is TGF beta, interleukin 1, 6 and 23. What is the main immunological reaction? They cause recruitment of both neutrophils as well as monocytes, and they are providing the host defense against extracellular bacteria and fungi. And the role in disease is autoimmune and other chronic inflammatory disease like IBD, psoriasis and multiple sclerosis. Hope you have understood this point. Now coming just to sum up, the event number 2 that is happening. So the T helper 1 is releasing interferon gamma, which is a potent macrophage activator. Okay, so CD40, which is present on the surface of the B cell, along with interferon gamma, they are the classical macrophage activation. So as I have already told you before, that the CD40 ligand produced on the surface of the helper T lymphocyte, okay, when they are acting on the CD40 receptor on the macrophage, they are going to activate the macrophage in the classical manner, which will lead to destruction of ingested microbes or intracellular microbes. Similarly, we are having T helper 2. So T helper 2 releases interleukin number 4, which will cause B cell differentiation into those plasma cells which are going to increase the production of IgE antibody only. And also T helper 2 releases interleukin number 5, which will cause activation of eosinophils. So these eosinophils and mast cells, they bind to IgE coated microbes, that is the helminths, and they are acting against the helminths. Also the T helper 2 cells, they activate the alternative pathway of macrophage activation, as we have already read on the chapter on inflammation, and this leads to tissue repair and fibrosis. Now just to sum up, okay, activated CD8 plus T lymphocytes, they differentiate to form cytotoxic T cells, which will kill these cells which are harboring the microbes in the cytoplasm, and it will eliminate the reservoir of infection. So this is all about how the cell mediated immunity works in a normal manner. Now coming to the next leg, that is the humoral immunity. Activation of the B lymphocytes and elimination of extracellular microbes. Again, if you see over here, upon activation, the B lymphocytes are going to proliferate, means they are going to increase the number, plus they are going to differentiate into plasma cells, which is going to secrete different classes of antibody, and each class is having a distinct function. So let us see what are the functions of the lymphocytes, B lymphocytes. Number 1 is they cause neutralization of microbes and toxins. Number 2, they cause opsonization and phagocytosis. Number 3, they cause antibody dependent cell cytotoxicity, also called as ADCC. They are also responsible for affinity maturation and isotype switching, as well as complement activation, leading to lysis of microbes, phagocytosis of opsonized microbes, and inflammation. Now we are going to discuss each and every function in details. So number 1, the neutralization of the microbes and toxins. So this is very easy, and we have already discussed this before. So this is a naive B cell. As we all know, an immunologically inexperienced lymphocyte is called as a naive cell. So this B cell is naive, and a naive B cell, okay, in the surface they are expressing certain receptors called as IgM and IgD. So these are the B cell receptors, okay, in an immunologically inexperienced, means the ones which have not encountered a microbe. Now once they are going to encounter a microbe, they are going to go and stimulate the helper T cells, and helper T cells in turn is going to activate them and lead to proliferation of these B cells, okay, as well as it will cause differentiation of these B cells into plasma cell. And the plasma cells are those cells which are antibody secreting, so they are going to produce antibodies. These antibodies are going to go and attach to the microbe, and they will cause the neutralization of the microbes as well as their toxins. So this is all about the neutralization. Now the second important function is opsonization and phagocytosis. So we have already seen that once the plasma cells are produced, they are going to release certain antibodies. In this case, the opsonization is carried out by IgG. So what they will do, this IgG, this is going to go and coat the microbe. So the coating of the microbes occur by the IgG, and once this coating occurs, they become very tasty targets for the phagocytes like the neutrophils and the macrophage. So what will happen, this phagocyte, that is the neutrophil or the macrophage, they are having certain receptor called as the FC receptor, and this is the microbe. Okay, so this FC receptor present on the phagocyte is going to recognize the FC tail of IgG, okay, which is coating the microbe, and they are going to recognize them, and they are going to cause the phagocytosis of the microbes and the killing of the microbes. So this process is called as opsonization and phagocytosis, and the antibody responsible is IgG. Now going ahead, antibody dependent cell cytotoxicity is very similar to opsonization and phagocytosis. The only difference is that here the phagocyte, instead of phagocyte, we are having natural killer cells. They are having, and we are having the microbe. So the IgG which is present on the microbe, they have an FC tail, and that FC tail is recognized by the FC receptor which is present on the natural killer cell. Now once they are going to recognize the microbes, they are going to cause killing of that particular microbe, and this process wherein the natural killer cell is coming into the picture, this is called as antibody dependent cytotoxicity. Okay. Now moving ahead, affinity maturation and isotype switching. Now these are very important and sophisticated process. So first of all, let us understand each of these terms. So what is isotype switching? So for example, initially IgM or IgD type of antibody is produced in the naive B cells. Now once they are stimulated by the macrophage, by the microbes, they are going to produce different classes of antibodies. So isotype switching is, so means one which is producing IgM, now according to the need, according to the micro, for example is a helminth, now they are going to switch their class from IgM, they are now going to produce IgA. So depending on the situation, okay, this is called as isotype switching. For example, IgG antibody production. Okay, so this has two functions. One of them we have already read, that IgG helps in opsonization and phagocytosis, plus IgG can also cross the placenta from the mother to the child and provides protection to the newborn until their immune system matures. Secondly, both IgG and IgM together, they can stimulate the complement system by the classical pathway. Also, the IgA is secreted from the mucosal epithelia. For example, there are any microbes at the level of the mucosal epithelium. So at the level of mucosa, IgA antibodies are released, which is going to neutralize the microbes in the respiratory system and the GIT. Also, we are having the IgE. Now, for example, in our body, we are having parasites and helminth. In that situation, IgE antibody is going to be produced. This is all about isotype switching. Now, what is affinity maturation? In very simple terms, it means production of antibodies which is having a very high affinity for a specific antigen. That is called as affinity maturation. Now let us move a little bit ahead in this. For example, in our body we are having protein antigens. So whenever the protein antigens will enter the body, they are presented by the B cells to the CD4 plus and helper T cells. Okay, to the CD4 plus helper T cells. The CD4 plus cells are called as the helper T cells, whereas the CD8 plus cells are called as cytotoxic T cells. Okay, so whenever the protein antigens are going to enter the body, they are presented by the B cells to the CD4 plus helper T cells. And now, as you will recall, as we have already read, how the B cells are going to stimulate the T cells by means of CD40 receptor, which is present in the B cells and macrophage, which attaches to the CD40 ligand, which is expressed by the T lymphocytes. Now this will lead to the CD4 plus T cell activation, and I already told you, once the T cell will become activated, they are going to release certain cytokines which are going to stimulate the B cells, and these B cells are going to carry out isotype switching and affinity maturation according to the nature of the microbe. And so this entire process is T cell dependent, and therefore this is a very sophisticated process as it is T cell dependent. Okay, secondly, yes, this is T cell dependent. Secondly, we can have polysaccharide antigens and lipid antigens. As already mentioned before, these are not recognized by the T cells, but these are recognized by the B cells. So this is a T cell independent process. So there is a T cell independent activation of the B cells, and they cause secretion of only IgM antibody. It is a very simple process, and it is a T cell independent process. Also, one important MCQ is that both isotype switching as well as affinity maturation occurs at the level of the germinal center. Now, the fifth important function of the humoral immune system is the complement activation. As I already stated before, the IgG and IgM antibodies activate the complement system by the classical pathway. So if you see over here, what happens that once they are activated, for example, this is a microbe and that has been coated by the complement protein, the activated complement protein, that is C3b. Now the phagocyte is having a receptor called as C3bR. So this can recognize the C3b which has coated the microbe, and thus the phagocyte will carry out phagocytosis. So just like IgG antibody, the C3b also causes opsonization and phagocytosis of the opsonized microbes. Secondly, there can be a direct lysis of microbes. So the complement system, that is the C5b, if you remember, the MAC complex, they can cause direct lysis of the microbes, and also they are the ones which will participate in inflammation. Moving ahead, there are few important MCQs. So the cytokines which are inducing isotype switching, they are interleukin number 4 and interferon gamma. Also remember that affinity maturation and isotype switching, they occur at the level of the germinal centers, and the CD4 plus T cells or the helper T cells that cause them, they are called as follicular helper T cells. So the CD4 plus T cells which are causing what? Affinity maturation and isotype switching are called as follicular helper T cells. Coming to the last leg of today's lecture, that is decline of the immune response and immunological memory. So majority of the effector lymphocytes are induced by infection, and these lymphocytes, they die by apoptosis after the microbe has been eliminated. Now the initial activation of the lymphocytes also generates long-lived memory cells which will survive for years after infection. Now memory cells are nothing but they are an expanded pool of antigen specific lymphocytes. So they will respond faster and more effectively when they are re-exposed to the same antigen that they had experienced as a naive cell. So thank you very much guys for listening to this lecture. Do subscribe, share with those in need. And also one important thing I wanted to say, that most of the videos that is watched by my viewers, most of them have not yet subscribed to my channel. So please kindly you do subscribe so that you don't miss on any of my lectures. Thank you very much guys. Stay tuned and I will be back with more lectures. Thank you very much.